Welcome to the first edition of Eye on 227 with our District Superintendent, Dr. Johnny Thomas. I am your host, Sean Howard. As I stated, this is our very first show, and we are extremely excited about this new platform that is geared toward informing and keeping Rich Township residents up to date on every aspect of our school district. This show will enhance communication efforts and provide transparency as it relates to all district functions. The show will also include topics such as student achievements, district goals and accomplishments, our academic curriculum, our educators, community engagement, athletics, social awareness, and the arts. We will also present a wealth of local and regional information that impacts our students and parents. This show will also inform residents of our many cultural diversity events that make District 227 a great educational experience for our students. So today I'm honored that the visionary for our programming and our executive producer as well is here to talk about the vision and the state of the district. Please join me in welcoming our district superintendent right here on I-227, Dr. Johnny Thomas. Dr. Thomas, thank you. We've made it here. Fine. Yes. Let's just talk about this platform, this vehicle, if you would, that you really wanted to create a new platform for education and also information. Can you just talk about what the vision was for this?
There's a lot going on in education today, and we believe with all the changes and all the things that are impacting our students and our staff and impacting the community, we think that this is a good vehicle to really get accurate information out to our families so that they are informed about what's happening in the district itself. We really hope that this empowers individuals to take action and not be passive in how they support our children. So we're really excited about this opportunity.
Yes, I fully concur. And as I walk the halls and some of the campuses, many people know who you are. They see your face. You're no stranger. You've been around here 10 years or more. But let's just take a pause and find out not only who Superintendent and Dr. Thomas is, but who is Johnny Thomas, and how should people kind of identify you with their day-to-day struggles in life and some of the other challenges that they have?
Yeah. Well, that's a good start. This is my fifth year here in the community, and my 10th year overall as a superintendent. It's important to go back to the beginning, though, because my entire life has been focused on elevating youth. And so, starting with my own life, I was born and raised on the west side of Chicago. Grew up in a lower middle class home with both my parents, with 9 siblings. So there are 9 of us total. I am the youngest of 9.
That's a big family.
It's a huge family, and then we actually had individuals that came into our home that my parents took in because that's what they believed in. They believed in us taking care of each other. I ended up going to school on the north side of Chicago. My parents thought that would be a better opportunity than what was given to us in the neighborhood, which I was always uncomfortable with. I always believed that we should have the same opportunities in our neighborhood as any kid on the north side or some of the south side areas have. And so it always was something that was in the back of my mind, why is there this difference? I ended up going to Beaubien Elementary on the north side of Chicago. A fun fact, when I got there, I actually was moved from 3rd grade to 5th grade. Wow. And was made to sit in a classroom, not ever having been in 4th grade, and so I was completely lost. Oh, wow. They ended up probably a semester in putting me back in my regular grade, but of course that adjustment and all those things, it took a toll. I ended up going back to 5th grade and ran into a teacher that did not really care about kids, didn't really care about students, and was very abusive. I'll never forget that teacher. You always remember the ones who impacted your lives and the ones who really caused some consternation.
Yeah, quite the opposite.
Correct. So I ended up not performing for that teacher. And those are the kind of individuals I look for in every organization I work in, to begin to either coach them to be better individuals or coach them into maybe a different profession. I ended up failing that grade. So I ended up failing 5th grade and having to do 5th grade again. So for those of you who are watching, I actually spent 3 years in 5th grade.
Quite a testimony.
Quite a testimony. I had then ended up moving forward, ran into a teacher that I looked for in every organization. There was this teacher who understood that I had gaps in my learning and that I wasn't a bad kid, or I wasn't from a bad family, or I wasn't from a bad home. There were just gaps in what I understood. And so she made me promise that if I paid attention and I stuck with her, she would help to remediate those gaps. And she stayed with me before school and after school. I don't know if she got paid for it. I don't know if there was extra pay or if there was extra money that came as a result of that. All I know is I felt like I was cared for. And it's those types of individuals that we're looking to bring to 227, those who go above and beyond to really support our students. So I really believed in this teacher. She helped to get me back on track. And really interesting fact is, when I went into 7th grade, I was probably reading at the 5th grade level. So I was a couple of years behind and was in a class with other students that were significantly behind. After her work with me, I took this test. I don't know if you remember, it's called the Iowa.
Yeah, I used to stay up nervous at night studying for it.
And I ended up going from a 5th grade level in reading to a junior year in high school in reading, which then opened the doors to all the magnet schools that were in the city of Chicago. And the amazing thing that happened was I wasn't any different. I understood now what was being asked of me, but I just had this opportunity now to really show people what I know. And they ended up moving me from this regular class to these gifted classes. Right. I was no different. Someone just took the time to work with me.
And we'll get to some of the internal mechanisms of education in a minute, but that goes a long way into identifying yourself with some of the children that you see here in the hallways every day.
That is correct. There are a lot of our students who genuinely want to be the best that they can be, who genuinely aspire to live up to the expectations that we as adults give them. And so if our expectations are low, then they're living up to what we expect of them. And that's one of the things that we're shifting and moving forward in the district.
Let's talk about, your high school career, college career, and what sort of propelled you this way into this realm of education.
Yeah, so I ended up going to Lane Tech, which is also on the north side of Chicago. Went there all 4 years, had a great high school experience. One grounded in the technical aspects of school and the career and tech ed pieces, a lot of vocational work. And then from there, I received a 4-year scholarship to play football at the University of New Mexico. So I went all the way out west.
That must have been a cultural shock.
It was a huge cultural shock. Being a kid from the west side, not being exposed to much, not being able to travel like some of my peers, going out west and actually seeing a road runner, actually understanding what a Tasmanian devil was, right, and all those things I saw in cartoons were real. It was an amazing experience. I ended up transferring from New Mexico and finished my academic undergraduate career at Southern Illinois University.
Not only was that a culture shock, but a weather shock too.
The weather was probably one of the reasons why I chose to go out there. It was really nice out there. Yeah. So I transferred back to SIU. I got my bachelor's at SIU in Carbondale. Was about to graduate, and the academic advisor came to me and said, "Hey, what are you going to do with this degree in sociology?" And I was like, well, "What do you mean? I'm going to go get a job." He's like, "No, you have to continue to go to school." And that caused a lot of frustration for me, because if someone would have told me, "Hey, if this major is going to have to cause you to do more in school," I would have chose a different major.
Well, luckily they didn't.
Luckily they didn't. So I ended up finishing. I had a couple of tryouts at the professional level. Didn't make it.
In football, yeah.
In football. Yeah. And then I went to work for the Department of Children and Family Services.
Well, that was an experience.
It was incredible. I got to see students and children probably in the lowest points of their lives, going through a lot of traumatic experiences. It was really a tough time for me as a growing young adult to be exposed to so many of the traumatic things that our students continue to go through today. And the only time I saw these children brighten up is when they were leaving the therapist office. And so I stopped the therapist one day and I said, I want to help kids like you're helping kids. How did you become a therapist? And she told me about a few programs, so I ended up going back to school and enrolled at Loyola University here in Chicago. And I got my master's in social work from Loyola University. Great experience. From there, I began working at Hartgrove Hospital, which is a psychiatric hospital on the west side. Once again, seeing what the social emotional aspects, how they impact on our children, and seeing the things that are gaps in terms of the supports that are in our communities for them. And so realizing that we were just kind of a revolving door for students, I wanted to have a direct impact to stop them from coming to the hospital. So I became a school social worker at Chicago Public Schools and worked there for about 5 years before I then went on to work at Valley View School District in Will County. We did a number of great things there, including creating a emotionally challenged behavioral program for students. From there, I began my work as an associate superintendent at Township High School District 214 in Arlington Heights. Did that for about 3 years. And then I obtained my first superintendency, which was in Crystal Lake Community High School District 155.
Yeah, so you've had sort of like a diverse and well-rounded experience in education, but it's interesting that it started in sort of like social and mental health. And how has those set of unique experiences propelled you into the facet to which you're now up against here at Rich Township 227? Because those are some very interesting aspects that you aforementioned, and you're dealing with that and you're seeing that every day. So how has all that propelled you to become the superintendent of this district right now?
Well, being in those diverse settings, some of the things that you quickly realize is that our students don't have the same types of experiences that other students are having across not only the state of Illinois, but nationally and worldwide. And so for me, it was about what could I do to bring some of those worldly experiences to our community so that we begin to level the playing field for our students in our community. The social emotional aspect of it has really played a part in me understanding the behavioral side of what students are going through, although this pandemic has thrown a wrench in how we would normally anticipate our students growing and developing. And so we're continuing to have to work together, teams, to try to figure that piece out.
Yeah, which is an excellent segue into my next question involving the pandemic. Rich Township High School District 227 has had some successes in these enormously challenging phase of all of our lives. How have you been able to accomplish that, you and your staff throughout the district, been able to sustain, motivate children, but yet maintain your curriculum and get things pushed through and in a positive fashion? How has that been, and how did you do it?
Well, we have always operated from the standpoint of trying to give our students 21st century advances in education. And what the pandemic did was it accelerated those advances. Our students were on the path of having digital devices in every classrooms. We wanted to accelerate it so that they can take those devices home with them. Our students had inequities in terms of being able to access the internet and being able to access broadband support. And so we were able to partner with T-Mobile to make sure that every family in our district received a mobile device and a mobile hotspot so that no family was without the internet. And so those things really began to put us on strong footing. And then when the pandemic hit, we just had to really turn the switch and really get our teachers and our staff on board. Our teachers have been incredibly flexible. There's been an incredible amount of change, and they have been some very resilient and strong professionals. We're really proud of the work that they're doing on behalf of our children. And our administrators continue to try to find ways to find the right mixes to make sure that our students continue to have success while they're in school.
And my second part to this question deals with how the students have been able to walk themselves through these set of experiences amidst an enormous amount of school days to which all school districts in Illinois and throughout the country have had to endure. But just talk about the way you look at a student now. It's much differently from normal times.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I have tried to communicate quite clearly to all stakeholders is these students have been isolated for about 18 months. It's almost 2 years of not being around another adolescent. And we all know developmentally adolescents learn from other adolescents. Exactly. And so what we have quickly realized is, hey, if you are a student at Rich Township High School District 227, you fall in certain categories. One, 75% of our student body has never finished a year of high school. Currently. That's 75% of the students that are attending us. 50% of the students have never been in high school. 50%. And if you look at the ninth graders who are freshmen this year, the last time that they were in school was in 7th grade. Wow. So they were 7th graders the last time they were in school.
That's a big leap.
So normally it would be difficult in a normal year to have a freshman class adjust to being in high school. In this post-pandemic world, and I don't even know if it's post, right? We still are in the midst of it. Exactly. We are basically training 3 grades of freshmen in our schools currently. And that is a tremendous undertaking that's happening. And with that, there's a lot of anxiety. There are some students who are very anxious, and they display that anxiousness in sometimes very aggressive ways. The other day I was reading an article that was posted in the LA Times, and the Surgeon General, U.S. Surgeon General, released a very rare advisory saying that the adolescents in our country, across the entire nation, are in a mental health crisis right now. And I don't know if our families realize that or understand that, but I'm saying this here in this public forum, we have to pay attention to how our children are functioning emotionally. It is the number one thing that's impacting us right now in our schools today.
And with all of those challenges, you've yet been able to perform expansion and growth here at the district, the STEM Center and what have you. Can you just talk about the enormous challenges of sustaining growth, creating progress for yourself, performing student achievement and staff achievement goals all during these challenging times? So let's just talk about some of those aspects.
Yeah, you know, having one thing change is not easy, especially for adults and children. We've had an enormous amount of change that has happened in our organization. We run what's called a flex mod schedule now, where our students are on a college-like schedule where they don't have the same classes every day. They have opportunities now to be self-reflective, finish homework at school, find times to get additional academic support, just in changing how we view time within our organization. We've added a culinary arts kitchen at our FACS campus that allows for our students to work in a real-world experience. And we're connecting that experience with cross-curricular events such as our business classes, helping those students then to run businesses as they connect with our culinary arts and provide a product out to the community. So really giving our students this opportunity to have these real hands-on experiences. You mentioned the STEM campus. At the STEM campus, we've expanded our voc ed programming, our STEM programming, and our career and tech ed programming. We've included robotics at the school with a brand new robotics arena. We've added a lot of computer science and coding experiences for our students. And we actually have a real production assembly line with the actual robots that you see working in manufacturing companies, where our students learn how to program on real industry machines, so that if they decide as individuals, if they want to go to work, they have the skills and the credentials to be able to do that. If they want to go to college, they can choose that path. It's really creating that individualized support for our students.
Now, Dr. Thomas, how much of that has been inspired or even promoted and assisted by the Amazons of the world and some of the other logistical companies that have called the Southland community their new home?
That's a great question. Amazon has been a tremendous partner for us. Our STEM campus is Amazon Engineering School. They have really worked to not only look to help on the STEM side of providing that academic support, but they are providing comprehensive support to our district by not only providing funds, but also providing the expertise and the technicians to help us really accelerate what we're doing here in our district.
And I've heard you talk about the many diverse forms of post-secondary education. Not all students may be equipped to attend a four-year university, but there are trades to which these logistical companies, such as Amazon, has come in. Is that a greater emphasis to which you're now promoting, giving kids an opportunity to have options, if you will?
Yeah, so in our district now, you have pathways that you can choose. Those career pathways then expose you to capstone courses where you can then receive the credentials that will allow for you to either go to work, because now you have the food safety, food handling certificates, or you've done the advanced training for EMT and paramedic work, or you have worked to be NIMS certified. You have these opportunities now to get that, so that if you need to support your family, you can do that right away out of high school. But if you decide that you want to go ahead and continue your educational career, you've had practice in your career field, so that you're not making that very important decision when you're in college trying to figure it out there. So just giving them that head start, we think, is going to help them once they matriculate to the higher ed.
You know, looking back on your tenure of 5 years here in the district, what are some of the things you're most proud of? I know you've had to deal with the pandemic, but obviously there have been strides and strides of progress and improvements. What are you most proud of?
I am impressed by the hard work that has been taking place by our teachers, by our administrators, by our children. You know, a lot of people don't realize last year we had 631 seniors eligible to graduate. We graduated 628 of them. That's almost 98% of them.
That's fascinating.
If you start with us and you're here with us, we work to see you through, and it is that experience of us wrapping our arms around our children and really supporting our families is something that I'm really proud of.
You know, and speaking of which, you have this expansion and growth going on on some of the on both campuses, obviously. Can you just talk about some of the more very visible and noticeable expansion projects going on Sauk Trail Road?
Yeah, so we hope this fall, when we come back, the students will be exposed to a brand new field house. That field house will have multiple basketball courts, a 200-meter track, climbing walls. It will have a weight room and aerobic room. But the thing that I'm really excited about, and it's the social work side of me, I guess, is it also will have a food pantry and a laundry service room, so that our students who are experiencing difficulties with food or making sure that their clothes are clean, we provide that opportunity right on site for them. And that's something I'm really excited about.
And I've heard you speak recently about child care services as well. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so this fall at the STEM campus, we are opening a Little Raptors early childhood center. We're really excited about it, but the real unique thing about the Early Childhood Raptor Center is our students who want to go into teaching will be working to teach those students in the Little Raptor Center alongside a certified teacher. And those students, if they continue through the program, will have the opportunity to be accepted into Loyola University. And if they can finish the School of Ed program at Loyola University, we're guaranteeing them a job back, really working to create that pipeline of future teachers so that we can keep quality professionals in our community.
Well, I know the hard work that you and your staff have put in, along with the board, the Board of Education here that gives you the support to which you need. I know it's an ongoing sacrifice, and I know many of you have made the type of sacrifices to which not normally is spelled out on the walls for people to see, but it's behind the scene work that goes in. So I applaud you and your efforts, and we know this platform will be ongoing, a monthly show to which you'll utilize these vehicles to get student achievements out. And I know you're anxiously anticipating that the next co-host in this chair will be one of your students. And I know you want to open up this platform where students can come in and engage in communications.
Yeah, one of the things that we're excited about also next year is we're opening a brand new broadcast TV communications program. And so yes, we don't want you to lose a job, but we want to have a student in that seat with the opportunity to have this real world experience and make sure that we continue to focus on our students and the success of our students, which is our mission.
Very good. Well, I just appreciate you for taking time out and having the vision for this particular program. I know the students and staff, especially the residents, will be very excited about basically you being transparent about everything and every aspect of the district. So once again, thank you for the vision. And to our viewing audience, I'm just very excited that you could tune in today and be with us, because this is one of hundreds of programmings to which you'll see right here on your public access channels in your various municipalities. It is Dr. Thomas's vision, not only to have the state of the district, as you have heard in part, be listed and viewed on this particular network, but also hear from your students, your children, who make this a very exciting time for our district. I've been Sean Howard, and this has been Eye on 227. Please stay tuned for a wealth of events that are forthcoming, and we'll just take a moment right now to view some of those events that are coming during the holiday season.